necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history.
Managing Director of Caribbean Immigrant Services, Erwin Clare, says Mr. Trump's plan has left migrants worried.
I think the methodology of his vocal and his words have already defeated many, and there is absolute concern.
Mr. Clare was speaking on TVJ's All Angles with Dion Jackson Miller recently. Trump's deportation plan will target millions of immigrants. He claims the dragnet will start on day one when he becomes president. The plan aims to expand deportation operations, detain individuals in massive camps, and overhaul birthright citizenship and asylum protection systems. According to the Pew Research Center, the unauthorized immigration population in the United States grew to 11 million in 2022 from 10.5 million in 2021. Mexico accounts for 43.1% of undocumented immigrants. Countries from Central America, South America, and the Caribbean also have significant numbers of undocumented immigrants in the U.S. Research fellow at the Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social and Economic Studies, Dr. Natalie Dietrich Jones, says there needs to be talks between the U.S. and Jamaican governments to protect illegal migrants.
Jamaica is not in that list, but the highest number of involuntary returnees are from the United States. So I think there may need to be some bilateral engagement on this between our governments to ensure that persons who do have the right to stay don't get caught up in a campaign that is directed against persons who do not have status.
Migrants shackled and in chains boarding a deportation flight. The Trump administration has released this footage touting the president's crackdown on illegal migration. These flights returning undocumented migrants from the US were happening even before Donald Trump returned to the White House. 1.5 million people were deported under Joe Biden, many of them similarly on planes and in chains. One key difference is that Donald Trump is now using military planes for deportations. I spoke to some Brazilians who were deported on one of those planes. They told me that being in handcuffs caused panic because there were technical faults with the plane. The plane was incredibly hot and it was difficult to use the bathroom. The ones that I spoke to said that they had been detained months ago under Joe Biden's administration when they tried to cross into the US across the Mexico border. These images show migrants, most of them men, on a jet with armed members of the military. From Trump's perspective, this is meant to be a show of strength, a sign that he's willing to use all types of government resources to fulfill his promises. But they've been controversial in South America.
What could mass deportations do to America's economy?
When I'm re-elected, we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
Trump's policy is popular. Last year, 56% of Americans said they support mass deportations. But America's economy benefits from immigration, and Trump wants a strong economy. So how will those contradictory impulses play out? Trump's victory in the 2024 election was aided by a sense that the country is not in control of its borders. A net 2.8 million immigrants arrived in 2023 alone. Failing to enforce America's immigration rules risks eroding public support for legal migration. So Trump has a mandate to tighten controls. But the evidence suggests that mass deportations would do more harm to the economy than more moderate solutions. Estimates put the unauthorized population of America at somewhere north of 13 million. Of these, around 10 million are workers. That's 6% of America's entire labor force. Nearly 1 million of America's 2.5 million farm workers are unauthorized immigrants. Another 1.5 million work in construction, and many work in restaurants. Deporting all the unauthorized population would shock the labor market, raising the prices of goods and services that illegal immigrants help provide. Trump will not be able to deport all of them. His running mate, J.D. Vance, has suggested a more modest goal.
People focus on, well, how do you deport 18 million people? Let's start with 1 million, and then we can go from there.
That's more in line with the 1.6 million people Barack Obama deported in his first term. But even deportations on this more limited scale would still hurt America's economy. First, consider jobs. Team Trump argues that unauthorized workers are taking them from Americans, but the evidence suggests that unauthorized migrant labor complements rather than replaces native-born labor. think of the hard, tedious, low-paid work picking fruit or packing salads that Americans would rather not do. This study from the Peterson Institute estimates that deporting just 1.3 million workers would cause employment to permanently fall by 0.6%. Mass deportations would worsen current labour shortages. That would have the knock-on effect of pushing up the prices of food and houses. They would also strain public finances. Unauthorised immigrants aren't eligible for most direct federal benefits. But despite that, they still do pay into public coffers through sales and payroll taxes, which means that the recent surge in immigration could reduce federal deficits by $900 billion over the next decade. But Trump's plan to deport millions would shrink the tax base while leaving spending obligations intact. Immigration is good for America's economy. Migrant labor boosts tax revenues and economic growth. But equally, America should properly enforce the immigration laws. There are other solutions that would be less economically damaging. There's wide support for deporting people who've committed crimes and beefing up the southern border to limit crossings. For Donald Trump, the question might not be whether his plan of mass deportations is possible, but whether America can afford it.
Breaking news, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has begun the process of deporting over 700 US citizens that are residing in Nigeria. This is coming following reports that over 3,600 Nigerians in the United States have been deported. In response to that, Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reportedly initiated the process of expelling more than 700 US citizens residing in Nigeria. Additionally, there are claims that President Tinubu has imposed a ban on US-made mobile phones, including iPhones. While these reports circulate, reactions from Nigerians suggest spread concern, with many attributing the situation to Nigeria's involvement with BRICS. BRICS, a coalition of major emerging economies that includes China, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Egypt, recently welcomed Nigeria as a partner country. This affiliation is seen as an effort to strengthen Nigeria's economy, influence, and reduce dependence on Western economies. The Nigerian government aims to leverage this partnership to economic expansion, technological advancement, and increased foreign investment, aligning with its goal of achieving a $1 trillion economy by 2030. The mass deportation news has sparked intense debate on social media, with some Nigerians expressing joy over the prospect of undocumented immigrants returning home. While others fear for their safety and economic well-being, many individuals who migrated under difficult circumstances, including those escaping persecution, now face an uncertain future. Some observers have pointed out that certain Africans in the US have been unsympathetic towards their fellow countrymen, celebrating their impending deportation despite having used unconventional methods to secure their own residency. Meanwhile, in the United States, reports suggest that immigration enforcement has intensified. Some citizens claim that businesses, particularly small immigrant-run enterprises, are shutting down due to the crackdown. One observer in Houston, Texas, noted that several popular taco stands had closed, with caution tape marking some locations. This development adds weight to concerns that the U.S. administration is aggressively pursuing new immigration policies. As discussion on BRICS continue, many Nigerians remain divided over its impact. While some believe that the alliance will strengthen Nigeria's economy and global standing, others worry about potential fallout, including strained relations with Western nations. Analysts suggest that while BRICS membership offers opportunities, Nigeria must strategically balance its ties with the G7 to maximize benefits.
In line with President Donald Trump's renewed immigration policies, the United States has ramped up its deportation efforts, with 3,690 Nigerians among thousands of immigrants facing removal. The large-scale deportations come as part of a broader initiative to enforce stricter immigration laws and curb illegal migration. Reports indicate that multiple deportation flights have already commenced, transporting individuals from different nationalities back to their home countries. Images have surfaced showing long lines of shackled migrants boarding planes, highlighting the scale of the operation. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) confirmed that at least 538 migrants have been arrested, with 373 detainers issued in recent enforcement actions. The Nigerian deportee list includes individuals accused of various immigration violations, ranging from overstaying visas to criminal offenses. A breakdown of deportation statistics over the past 15 years reveals that between 2003 and 2018, approximately 5,892 Nigerians were deported, with 51% of them having criminal convictions. Common offenses include fraud-related crimes 37, drug-related offenses 28, and other felonies such as robbery and illegal entry 32. Authorities have stated that many Nigerians facing deportation are those who have exhausted legal options to remain in the U.S., including those denied asylum or caught violating immigration laws. The Nigerian government has been urged to provide reintegration programs for deportees who often struggle with stigma and financial difficulties upon their return. The crackdown is not limited to Nigerian immigrants. Several other nationalities, including Guatemalans, Mexicans, and Indians, are facing large-scale removals. At least 2 U.S. Air Force C-17 Globemaster III planes have been used to transport detainees back to Central America, with 79 migrants recently returned to Guatemala alone. The Indian government, in response to the Trump administration's hardline stance, has announced plans to repatriate approximately 18,000 undocumented Indian immigrants from the U.S. The move aims to ease tensions and ensure that legal visa processes, such as the H-1B work visa, remain unaffected by the crackdown. President Trump has consistently advocated for stricter immigration policies, vowing severe consequences for those entering the U.S. illegally. His administration has not only increased deportation flights but has also deployed 1,500 additional troops to the U.S.-Mexico border to assist with border control and reinforce security barriers. While these measures have been praised by immigration hardliners, human rights groups have raised concerns over the treatment of deportees, citing reports of inhumane conditions and abrupt removals that separate families. As the U.S. continues its aggressive deportation agenda, thousands of immigrants now face uncertain futures, with many scrambling for legal avenues to remain in the country.